29 years old. He's 13-1-1, 11 knockouts. The 1999 World Amateur Champion at 178 pounds. He narrowly missed making the 2000 Olympic team and is trying to overcome that disappointment with a major step toward a world title. He'll take on Felix Cora Jr., familiar face, 3.5-year pro. With the age of 24, is undefeated in 15 fights. The two have met 3 times, twice in the amateurs, Sims winning both, and once here in the professional ranks. That fight took place in March of 2003 here in Chicago. The stakes kind of the same. Rising fighters, only one figure to climb into the ratings. Now, Cora, the busier fighter early, aggressive throughout. By the halfway point in the 10-round fight, Cora had at least a 3-point lead on 2 of the 3 judges' scorecards. Sims admitted not being in the best of shape, says he'd been disillusioned, allowed himself to be disillusioned by frequent cancellations, but he managed to battle back and ended up meaningful shots to rally back on the cards. After 10 rounds, one judge had Cora, one judge had Sims, one had it even, a draw in their first meeting as pros. Now, you'd think these two fighters would be kind of sick of each other, fighting for the same prize, sharing each other's dreams, but actually, they get along quite well. What about Cora? What are your thoughts now? You guys have been going off on each other for a while now, huh?
Yeah. It's pretty interesting. I mean, I say pretty good friends, but this fight, the friendship's out the window, the smile's out the window, strictly business here, and personal.
It's nothing personal, it's just business. I consider this fight as a fight of, we're really fighting for position, you know, a position which would hopefully in the near future give us a shot at the world title, which I'm pretty sure is both of our dreams. But I just have to go out and want it more and take it to the guy, and, you know, despite he's my friend and I like him a lot, I just have to go out and do what I have to do in order to be victorious.
You guys get along, though?
Oh, yeah, we get along. Like brothers.
That well?
That well. I mean, there's no animosity. I mean, they had us try to do a face-off at the last fight. We faced off in a split second. We started smiling and laughing at each other. And I said, you got to put somebody in front of me I don't like.
So it's Sims and Cora for the 4th time, both men well aware of what the other brings into the ring at this point. How will the game plan shape up this time?
I stay off the ropes, use my jab more. If you really knows in that fight, I use my jab a lot, and I did stay conventional with my left-hand jab. I wasn't firing the right hand. Had a bad elbow going into that fight with my right, but this time there's no pain, nothing, so everything is going to be unleashed. Combinations, body shots, a lot more body shots, and work the ring.
To do something extraordinary really wouldn't be a part of my game. My game is to keep it simple, do what I have to do, be first, and just take it to Sims like I took it to him my last fight, you know, and come away with the victory. If the knockout comes, it comes.
Ready for our main event, the Ramada Plaza Hotel here in Rosemont, Illinois, outside of Chicago. The crowd is now here, Teddy. USBA Cruiserweight belt on the line. It's the national title. There's no claim to world supremacy, so we can count without diluting a true world champion. Former world amateur champion Michael Sims right there got into boxing relatively late. Back to cruiserweight after a brief flirtation at heavyweight. It was at heavyweight where he took his one loss as a professional, 6th-rounder to Cuban Yamplier Azcoy, 28 pounds heavier than Sims. Close fight. Sims has never been outclassed. Teddy?
Well, for the tips now, Sims, number 1, he's going to have to draw a line in the canvas. Don't let him cross. In other words, use your height and reach. Extend your jab and keep Cora outside where you can catch him first and make him force his way in close. And number 2, add the left to that counter right. You use your counter right hook very effectively in spots. The first fight. Now make it 2 punches. Put the left hand with it from that southpaw position. And number 3, well, you said it yourself, stay off the ropes. Like most experienced amateurs, you feel comfortable there at times because you see things and you can counter in between shots. But it is not playing to your strength. It is playing to his. He is shorter and needs and wants to be inside.
Felix Cora Jr. out of Galveston, Texas. Unbeaten as a pro. 13-0-2. One of those draws to the man he's fighting right here. Raised by a fighter, his father Felix Sr. His last 5 bouts include both draws. Again, one to Sims in March of last year. What does Felix Cora have to do, Teddy?
Well, for him to get a win tonight, number 1, get inside behind the jab. That will take away his jab, give you cover, and remove his height advantage. Then you'd better work when you get in there. Number 2, stay with the body attack. Start early and stay with it all night. height. It can really pay dividends. Yes, he's taller, but also leaner. That means you can damage that midsection. And number 3, after the body throw uppercuts. When you were working inside in your first meeting, the uppercut was very effective when you used it after going downstairs.
These guys talked about how well they get along, but don't worry, they're going to throw when they get together. Pete Podgorski is our referee, giving the instructions right now.
Touch gloves, come out banging at the bell.
This guy's very similar, although again, Sims a little late to the game. Got a later start. They both have been in the game as professionals now, just over 3 years. Same number of fights, so they fought each other quite often. Twice in the amateurs, once as professionals. And one guy's going to have to separate himself here eventually, Teddy. And there will be some animosity when they start throwing here in a few seconds.
Well, this is probably a crossroads fight for both fighters. And we've talked so much about Sims, his great amateur career. Cora was a terrific amateur too. Fought in the 2000 Olympic trials, as you said, lost twice in the amateurs to Sims. 80 fights in the amateurs for Cora, and 164 for Sims. Sims starts off as an orthodox fighter, but he'll switch quite often to the lefty southpaw stance.
Do you like that, Teddy? A guy who does that?
If he's effective with it, but you know what? It's kind of like speaking too many languages. I want you to speak your first language real well. Make that work first. You know, it's kind of like sometimes in a basketball game, a guy dribbles too much. You want to see him put the ball in the hoop. You don't want him switching too much. But if it can be effective in spots, well, it can be another weapon.
Or a very fluid fighter. I like the way the punches just come right off his shoulder, Teddy. But Sims here is very active. As he says, he is fully ready for this fight. Blames himself for the last time that he fought Felix Cora Jr. Said he wasn't ready then and had to gut it out to even earn a draw.
Well, Sims has the longer arms. He's got the reach advantage. I think he needs to set himself, not move his feet too much. You know, a lot of times you see guys that are bigger, they're fluid like Sims is. You say, well, they move, they box, but if they're moving, they can make themselves ineffective sometimes. Watch when he moves his feet. That's when Cora is smart enough to read him and walk in. No, he's not set to punch. I think Sims, to really properly use his height, needs to be set to punch, Brian. Use that jab at the right distance, sort of draw a line in the canvas, and make sure he uses that jab, and he's set to catch Cora before Cora can get into his punching range.
It's just funny, Teddy, because Cora looks like he was born with the gloves being put on his hands. You know, in the crib with his father, Felix Sr., who's in his corner. And Sims, you can tell, is a guy who picked it up in high school. So Cora's just a little smoother, a little more fluid. That's a nice jab from Cora.
This is where Cora must not allow himself to get tied up. He's a shorter man. He likes to be aggressive, and to fit with that style, to make that style effective, he must be able to work when he does get inside, because you figure as this fight goes on the outside, Sims is going to find a way to be effective. Cora, when he does get close, needs to do his work, not allow himself to be tied up.
Final minute of round one. Michael Sims in the red trunks, Felix Cora Jr. in the blue.
You know, it's a funny thing. Cora's built like the stronger guy, the linebacker in football. But Sims is built more like the puncher, the wiry guys. They usually get good power. But to do that, Sims needs to be set on his feet. Watch his feet. If his feet are set, then he's going to be able to do that. But if his feet are not set and he's moving too much, I think Cora is going to be able to walk him down.
Should be an interesting fight. One round in already. Both guys warmed up. Only one can move up in the Cruiserweight rankings.
A nationwide taste test reveals the majority of Bud Light drinkers said Miller Lite has more taste than Bud Light. Take a moment to let that sink in. More taste and still half the carbs of Bud Light. Miller Lite, good call. The feeling of asking your doctor about Viagra.
The Tuesday night poker game is back, and this time it's for $5 million.
Passing out $100 bills in this town. Ain't never gonna be the same.
The highest stakes, the world's best players, and the unrivaled coverage of ESPN. 2004 World Series of Poker. All new episodes begin Tuesday, July 6th at 9.
Main event here on Friday Night Fights. Brian Kenny, Teddy Atlas, here outside of Chicago, Illinois. Michael Sims in the red, Felix Cora Jr. in the blue. Both landed 5 punches in the first round. Nice work rate for both fighters early on. They know each other well. Michael Sims still fighting orthodox. Throws up the left hook. Pete Podgorski, the referee, told them both to watch their heads as they jumped into each other.
Look for Cora to press the fight. And he's got to do it behind cover, behind that jab, so he doesn't get picked up on the way in by the long arm Sims. And again, look for Sims to use that jab and set up the right hand, but he's got to have that downstairs, those feet set.
Cora moving his head well, had a nice overhand left. That tag, famous Sims.
Sims turned southpaw for the first time tonight.
So you know what? When I think of this, Teddy, one of the few guys that I saw that worked for was Felix Stern, fighting Oscar De La Hoya. One of the few guys that I thought, you know what? This guy can fight either way. He's just as good. But otherwise, I usually don't like him.
Well, whether it's lefty or righty tonight from Sims, one thing that I think is really important, not just that he moves his hands, but where he moves them from. Sims, the taller guy, more set up for an outside fight, has to move those hands from the right distance. Not from too close, but from the right distance. Then he's helping himself. Then he's fighting into his strengths or playing into his strengths. Otherwise, he starts getting too close. He allows Cora into his comfortable punching distance.
Well, Teddy, he's having more success right now. He's showing a nice right jab. He's following up with a right hook. So he's fairly fluid. I said I don't like it, but hey, whatever works. That's your bottom line. Sims is making it work.
But right now, Sims, for the last 30, 40 seconds, has gotten control of this fight, the rhythm of this fight. Wouldn't be a bad idea for Cora to keep using that jab just to stabilize Sims and to pay attention to going downstairs.
Sims is getting busy with that right jab.
When you're a taller guy like Sims and you use that, that could be a great advantage. But if you're the shorter guy, there's a lot of body, like right there, to attack.
Time. Who's got the mouthpiece? Who needs the mouthpiece?
Mouthpiece went out. Felix Cora, Pete Podgorski.
Let's go.
Get that mouthpiece.
Throw it under. I got it right here.
I didn't see if he spit that out or get knocked out. Get knocked out, Teddy? I didn't see.
Timer ready. Coming out here.
Really not sure.
Must have just opened up and had come out. Back underway. Final 30 seconds of the second round. There is room to move in this cruiserweight division. A lot at stake in this fight. Weight class always in search of a star, and now the weight limit is 200 pounds.
Well, one thing right now that has really shown itself in this past round, Sims is the quicker guy, has the faster hands. That has served him in this round.
Hey, there are lots of shave gels, and they're all full of soap. And soap can leave your skin dry and irritated. Introducing Gillette Complete Multi-Gel, the only shave gel without soap, so it won't dry out your skin. Closeness, comfort, and skincare in one shave gel. Healthy-looking, smoother feeling skin in 14 days or your money back. This is more than shave gel. This is skincare for a man. Gillette Complete Multi-Gel, the best a man can get.
Outside of Chicago, Illinois, Brian Kenny and Teddy Atlas here ringside as we have a cruiserweight main event here, and there is room for growth. The top 3 cruiserweights, Teddy, look, they could be 3 of the top heavyweights in the world. They all moved up over the last year. James Lights Out Tony, also J.C. Gomez and Vasily Girov. At least Gomez and Tony, who knows, those guys could be the best in the heavyweight division right now. So here's where you are in the Ring Magazine rankings. Wayne Braithwaite is ranked number 1. Jean-Marc Mormec is number 2. And from there, we've seen O'Neal Bell, Kelvin Davis, Virgil Hill's just retired. So there's no true consensus champion at 200 pounds. And there's room for these guys to fill up and maybe be a title contender.
Well, they can fit in, there's no doubt about that. The winner here will make a nice statement. With their amateur pedigree.
Oh, good counter. Right hand from Michael Sims. Cora shook up for a bit.
Right now, as I said the last round, the quicker hands of Sims serving him well.
Sims turned southpaw in the last round, and it's paid dividends immediately. I have to admit, I like his right jab, Teddy, and he throws a hook right off that jab. It's effective.
You mentioned the last fight about Tracy Patterson. Terrific kid, terrific fighter, world champion. And I had said about him, just being a little less predictable would have served him. Even though he won a world title, he did very well. And that is the case here with Cora, where the separation is starting to show itself for Sims. He's got more options. He can do things on the outside, he can do things on the inside, he can move a little bit. So far, Cora, as solid as he is, can do things only one way, straight at you and in front of you and being set to do it.
Excellent point, Teddy. As you're watching here, Sims get into a good rhythm and trade and get out of distance and then get back into distance and really dictate the rules of engagement.
Well, he's got more options, Brian. You know, it's going to be tough for Cora if Sims can hold his own on the inside. So far, Sims has shown he can hold his own on the inside with the quicker hands and with that amateur background of knowing what he's doing on the inside. Because the inside has to be Cora's place. He has to dominate on the inside. Because on the outside, Sims is probably going to be the better man.
Nice, crisp inside work by both fighters. Cora trading, throwing some good inside shots to the body, but Sims now answering back.
It's looking bad for Cora, I gotta tell you. As good a work as he's doing on the inside, Sims is at least staying even with him. And again, Cora's got to do better than that on the inside because he can't stay even with him on the outside, I don't believe.
Hey, Sims is 6'2", and he's got a big frame. He's I think, a little taller even than Antonio Tarver. He's taller than a lot of heavyweights out there. He turns 30 next month. There's got to be a sense of urgency in his career. And so far, he is showing that. He looks a lot better in this fight. Nice uppercut from Cora, but he's looking a lot better in this fight, Teddy, than he did against Cora last year.
Well, right now, he's hurting himself a little bit. He's going into that turtle defense, Sim. And when he goes into that turtle defense, he's going to have problems right here because he puts himself defensive. And when he's defensive, crossing his arms one over the other. Watch, he's crossing his arms there. When he does that, Cora can stay close and get off. Because to be able to go on offense when you got your arms crossed, you got to pull your hand back and leave it open.
Good, crisp, professional work in this round. We're back after this.
This is Relocation Central, also called Extended Stay America. It's sort of home between homes. Very comfortable. Separate workspace, full kitchen with refrigerator, plenty of room, even a recliner. And the price is great. So, I can take my time looking for a permanent place, or not. With all I get at Extended Stay America, why would I stay anywhere else?
It's really hard to say this, but, you are my shining star.
With the new Sony DVD Handycam camcorder, you don't just make movies, you make DVDs.
All right, let's pop in the DVD.
What are you guys watching tonight? On my shining star.
That's a good line.
The DVD Handycam from Sony, like no other.
Main event here on Friday Night Fights, round number 4. Michael Sims in the red, Felix Cora Jr. in the blue as Cora comes out firing. Sims taking over in this fight since turning southpaw. Look at the power punches. Sims 26, and 26 of 29 connects with power shots. And he's doing that on the inside, Teddy.
And he's built like the punches I said earlier. You know, the stockier guy, Cora, a lot of people would say maybe he's a more powerful guy, but when you're wiry and stiff and tall like Sims, usually that means you can bang.
This takes a high level of skill, and Teddy, to the casual fan out there, to stand toe-to-toe like this is literally toe-to-toe. This takes a high level of skill to get your punches off crisply and sharply at this range.
Well, it's important to keep your punches, and our great guests in the studio can tell you, Wilson Carter, important in here to keep your punches short. Whoever keeps their punches shorter will have the edge. Because there'll be less open for a counter, because both guys are also looking for a little mistake on the inside. So inside close, the closer you are, the shorter you want your blows to be.
Cora, every few moments, will land a good body shot right to the lower level of the belly. You look at Teddy's scorecard.
I think Cora needs to concentrate on that body even more.
Nice fluid attack from Cora, but Sims, you can see very athletic, and you can see why, too, Teddy, why that was a brief flirtation at heavyweight, and why he could lose a fight at that weight. He should be fighting at 200 pounds, which, by the way, now, I think going from 190 to 200 should only help the division.
Right now, Cora concentrating on that body, and that's what he should concentrate on, with the slender Sims. And you're going to get dividends later. You don't want to start banging the body and go away from it and then go to it late. You want to stay on it early. And like I've said many times, it's like putting money in the bank. It builds interest for you. And later on, as time goes by, all of a sudden, your bankroll, your bank account is going to get a little bit fatter, a little bigger.
Final round of the fourth round. Final moment, rather, of the fourth round. In just a moment, we're going to go back and hear what Reuben Carter has to say about this fight.
Right now, it's in the place that you want it to be if you're a backer of Cora, on the inside. This is where he needs to be. He's got the shorter arms. He's built for this. He's not as quick as Sims. He can take some of that speed away by being in close with Sims. Even though Sims can hold his own in their spots, I think he belongs outside. I think he's serving Cora and putting Cora right back into the fight by staying in close this whole round with Cora.
Yeah, you're right, Teddy. Cora in his wheelhouse at this range, throwing good combinations, ducking underneath. Let's go back to our ESPN studios right now. Stan Perret and the Hurricane.
All right, there through 4 rounds in Chicago. It's Michael Sims and Felix Cora. Who do you think is controlling this fight so far?
Well, you know, I had the opportunity to look at the videotape of their first fight in Chicago.
That one ended in a draw.
Yeah, and that ended in a draw. And from the first fight to this fight, I see Sims very much stronger. I see a different kind of Sims here. But I agree with Teddy Atlas. What Sims need to do with Cora is to back Cora up from the inside. When they get close, Sims need to back Cora up, because I don't think Cora can go backwards. And if you make him go backwards, Sims will be able to get the distance and reach that he needs to do away with this fight. Because he looks strong enough to do away with Cora right now. But he got to back Cora up.
Needs to take a page from your playbook and get aggressive.
Get aggressive.
All right, let's head back out to Chicago now, and more with Brian Kenny and Teddy Atlas ringside.
Stan, thank you. And there is Michael Sims. Comes right out, and now orthodox, and trying to create a little distance between himself and Felix Cora.
You know, Brian, you talked from the beginning. I think it was a good pickup saying that Sims just looks a little bit more intense, a little more intense in this fight. Well, of course, one of the reasons is that he's fighting for himself, he's fighting for his future, fighting for his place in his division. Or maybe there's an extra reason. He's fighting for his former manager, a terrific man, great boxing man, and great human being, Sid Tanner. The manager of Michael Sims died yesterday. He's been on dialysis for 7 years. He's 82 years old. Managed many fighters, including Juan Lascano, Henry Clark, Bill McMurray. Terrific man. Boxing's going to miss him. You know what? Mankind's going to miss him. God bless you, Sid, and your family.
Michael talked about him yesterday, and talked about him being in a coma, and he only learned of his death, Sid's death, last night. Michael Sims in the red, Felix Cora Jr. in the blue. Friday night fights, Brian Kenny, Teddy Atlas here in our main event, just outside of Chicago, Illinois. And Sims, sense of urgency for a lot of reasons, Teddy.
Yeah, and it could be a burden, too. It could be something that can lift you, and there's something that can weigh you down a little bit. We'll see how Michael Sims deals with the death of Sid Tanner, his former manager. I know right now Sid would be telling him, walk around Cora. Don't stand right in front of him. See, Cora needs to be set to punch. And he's a better guy right now on the inside. Sims, if he's going to stay inside, maybe later on we can ask Reuben Carter about this. I'd like to see what he thinks about this, but Sims needs to walk around Cora. Just walk around him, circle around him a little bit, just to keep Cora moving his feet so he can't move his hands.
You know, Cora is he's a friendly guy outside of the ring. He's relaxed. He's sparred many rounds with Evander Holyfield, but sometimes he can be a little too relaxed in there. You know, sometimes they get high level of skill, throws meaningful shots, but he's not going to go chasing somebody down. You're right. If Sims is going to lean on his chest, Cora can mix it up with anybody.
Sims should be on the outside using his height. But it takes a lot of discipline to do that. A lot of people watching it, look at that good body shot by Cora. This is the place where Cora wants to be. Even though he gets one for a low blow, most of those shots are above the border. And you know what? They're having an effect on Sims. They're slowing him down a little bit. A lot of guys would say, gee, if he's a real tough guy to be on the inside, you want to be inside. But no, it takes a disciplined guy to stay outside. Sometimes it becomes easy to lay inside, even when you get the worst of it.
Well, I hope Roger found enough firewood. Yeah, I want to make s'mores. Hey, guys, I gathered the wood and made a fire. Oh, yeah, and I built a shelter.
Even as a kid, I believed in giving people a little more than they expected. Today, I do it for investors. I'm Roger Ryman. Scott traded.
Carter. Which other fighter also had the nickname Hurricane? Tommy Jackson, Eugene Hart, Lonnie Smith, or Norman Goines?
I'm just going to give you a little hint. I'm going to say one name, Floyd Patterson.
Second.
That's all I'm going to say.
You can't give anything connected to Floyd Patterson when you and I are sitting here.
I know, but I know I'm saying it to the right man. It's like a little wink.
Round 6. The Cyclone Hart. We were talking about that with marvelous Marvin Hagler last week. Here in our main event, Michael Sims, Felix Cora Jr. As Michael Sims once again back to southpaw. Look at your punches landed in round number 5, and you're right. You were there and close. Felix Cora is landing a lot of shots. Look at that, 38 last, 20 more than Michael Sims. He's just better and shorter on the inside. I think Sims, having the success that he did, Teddy, a few rounds ago, thought, you know what? I can stay inside. I can hurt Cora. I can hurt Cora a little bit inside. He can start losing rounds. Again, the judges just score each round. You hand it in and it's gone. And at the end of the fight, you might think one guy got the better of it. You know what? That's not how the fight is scored. It's how you add it up. Here's how Teddy Atlas has added it up so far, giving Felix Cora Jr. the last 2 rounds.
Again, I think that Sims is fighting this fight geographically the wrong way. He shouldn't be on the ropes, and he should not be inside where Cora shines. Shorter arms, he needs to be set to punch. He's a little slower than Sims. Being inside really, really favors him. And again, people are going to say, well, gee, you know, I got to give Sims credit going inside and fighting, you know, he's fighting in a harder place in there. But you know what? It's harder. Even though it would be easier in the end, it's harder to fight on the outside. I know that sounds contradictory to a lot of people listening. It's harder to understand what I'm saying. But it takes discipline. It takes confidence. And it takes a real mindset to get out on the outside. And it takes a real pro to get out on the outside and stay there in a consistent fashion.
I don't know who fights.
Sometimes it's easy to lay inside because you lay, even though you're getting the worst of it, it's easier to lay inside and just let things go.
Kenny, I'm trying to think of who fights well off the ropes. And I think I mentioned his name a few times tonight. A guy who had a belt here in this weight class, James Lights Out Tony. Now, other than that, who fights well off the ropes? I think you've always got to get off the ropes.
Wilfredo Benitez, the 3-time world champion, the youngest champion of all time. He fought well off the ropes, but he got a little space, and he was special at it. This is not where Sims belongs. We said it in the tips. He should not be here.
Cora is smoother. He's very fluid. His father was a former professional fighter, Felix Sr. Pro fighter, by the way, was stopped as a professional when responsibilities were added to his life.
Look what Cora's doing. He's doing it by the book. Going downstairs, going upstairs.
The responsibility, by the way, was Felix Jr. He came along, end of career. But now, his son fights on. Says he loves having his father in his corner. He's starting to win some rounds here. Halfway through in our main event, Felix Cora is coming on.
Jim Brewer here. I'm going to show you how the new right guard extreme power caps work. Power caps, a little ball.
Hurricane Jackson, who fought Floyd Patterson, the man that we both know very well and respect, 2 times.
you know, I think Boyd had told me that he was never wanted to fight Hurricane Jackson because he was his friend. And then he saw an interview with Hurricane Jackson. They said, "Did you ever fight Floyd Patterson?" And he said, "Oh, sure, I'd fight Floyd if the money was right." Floyd said, "Hey, wait a second. All right, if that's the way you feel about it, we'll fight." These two guys are friends, Felix Cora Jr. and Michael Sims. They are exchanging leather in this fight. High rate of work for both men. Fighting toe-to-toe, which, as we mentioned, nice crisp combination from Sims, but Teddy's mentioned it many times. If they go toe-to-toe and fight in a phone booth, it will definitely benefit the more fluid Felix Cora Jr.
Look, it's very simple. The one place where Cora needs to be, being that he's slower, he's one-dimensional, he's a good fighter, was a good amateur, but he's slotted into one thing where he needs to be set to punch. That means he needs a little cooperation, you in front. So the one place he needs to be is inside with those shorter arms where he can work. Sims, he can do two things. He can work inside, but he's better on the outside. Cora has trouble on the outside. When Sims goes inside, he feeds right into Cora.
Good, crisp jabs from Michael Sims. Felix Cora, I mentioned work rate, Teddy. Cora has thrown over 100 punches in each of the last 4 rounds. Work rate being one of our key phrases after seeing Terrence Coffin fight very effectively, but not at a high work rate in our first bout.
I'll tell you some phrases. If you're a backup Cora, you want to see him fight in the perimeters of this ring, along the ropes. If you're a backup Sims, you want to see him in the middle of the ring.
It was great earlier here on Friday Night Fight, seeing the old footage of Ruben Hurricane Carter. And even Ruben said he hasn't watched footage of himself in quite a while. I remember seeing the first time the knockout of Florentino Fernandez. I think it was a hook right-hand combination. Ron Lipton, top referee still, used to bring me the tapes, and I'd say, whoa. I'd roll it back and say, was that a hook right-hand combination? I'd tell you, I said, can you do that? Ruben can do that. Knocked him out of the ring.
You know, with the pace of this fight, Brian, condition is going to play into it. Ruben Carter was always in top shape. You know, it's a funny thing I'm thinking right now, because Sims said in his first fight, the one that was a draw, that he wasn't in top shape. But meanwhile, he won the late rounds.
Yeah.
You know, he came on late in that fight. He had his best rounds late. And he's saying he's in better shape in this fight. Yet the funny thing about it is tonight, well, you know what? He's heavier. He's 8 pounds heavier than the first fight. So you just wonder. I know he's saying he's in better shape than he was the first time, but we're going to find out. He is 8 pounds heavier tonight than their first match. But
remember, he went up to heavyweight, Teddy, and then came back. Maybe that weight never really fully came off. He looks like he's in good shape. That's an indication. He's not as if he's ripped, as they say, not razor sharp, but he looks to be in very good condition.
And on the other side, Cora, he's 10 pounds heavier than he was his first fight. So condition really is going to tell as we come down the stretch.
That was an excellent combination from Felix Cora Jr. as we get to the final seconds of round number 7.
Okay, come on. How do I get started?
.91 punches a round. That's a high work rate for a man 200 pounds. 58 punches per round for Michael Sims, as Cora has begun, I wouldn't say taking over, Teddy, but he's getting the better of it over the last few rounds.
Until the last round. The last round, Sims came back, and at least for part of that round, maybe half of that round, maybe a little more. That's going to be up to the judges to decide.
Your final 30 seconds, Cora was sharp, Teddy.
Yeah, but early on, you don't win rounds for 30 seconds unless you're Sugar Ray Leonard fighting Marvin Hagler. And sometimes you do capture the eyes of the judge and finish it off strong. But for the first part of that round, Sims got to fight where he wanted it. On the outside, where he could use that long jab. Now the fight is right back to where Cora wants it. Inside and body work.
Felix's trainer is Felix Cora Sr., and he joins us right now. Felix, Brian Kenny, Teddy Atlas, what do you see so far?
Oh, well, right now, Felix needs to, keep the pressure on him, work the body, slow this guy down, in and out. That's it, Felix. And he needs to keep him in there, Michael Sims likes to rest on the rope, so we got to make him pay.
Felix, this is Teddy here. I'm sure you want your son to be like a cheap suit all over Sims.
Right, that's just what we want.
And you want to make sure those hands keep moving when he's inside.
Correct. That's just what we need to do. Make him work, calm that body. Keep going, Felix. Work the jab.
Felix, are you surprised so far that Sims has allowed your son to get inside and work with him inside so much?
No. Every fight we have with him, we did that to him.
Okay.
You know this guy at this point, right, Felix?
Oh, we know him pretty good.
I think so. Thanks, Felix. We'll let you get back to work.
Thank you.
Felix Cora Sr., again, former professional fighter, watching his son, 24 years old, unbeaten, taking on Michael Sims, and this is what we expected, Teddy. It was a good first pro fight that they had. They fought twice in the amateurs. This is probably the best mix-up that we've seen between the two, and that's saying something.
You know, this is a nice, solid, intriguing fight. A lot on the line, a lot of talent, a lot of futures on the line, and there's a lot of good stuff going on there for us and our fans.
Meaningful combinations now as both men dig in. Nice crisp hook in there by Cora. Cora is very good on the inside. I've used the word a lot, Teddy, but fluid fighter. Father was a fighter, whole life in the ring.
Look for Cora to start using that uppercut a little bit more. It worked in the last fight, and now Sims is starting to lean forward just a little bit.
We're through 8.
This just in. In a nationwide taste test, the majority of Bud Light drinkers said Miller Lite has more taste than Bud Light. For
Junior in the blue, Michael Sims in the red. Brian Kenny, Teddy Atlas ringside, Stan Barrett with Ruben Hurricane Carter in our ESPN studios, and good life lessons from Ruben Carter, Teddy, saying there's no such thing as time, there's the eternal now, and you have to live in the present when you're in the ring.
Come on.
Long way from being determined in this fight. 9th round already, and we've seen a real change in the ebb and flow of this fight, Teddy, and I know you scoring it, it's fairly difficult. There's not one set pattern. Ruben Hurricane Carter joins us right now. Ruben, Brian Kenny here.
Hi, Brian.
How you seeing it so far? You must be enjoying this.
Well, I am enjoying it. You know, I had the opportunity to watch their first fight this afternoon, and what I'm seeing right now is the repetition of that fight. In that Sims looks strong. He takes the first 4 or 5 rounds, and then Cora just wears him down and just lays on him, and just like they're doing on the ropes right here. So these two guys are so evenly matched that they can fight 5 or 6 times, and it all would be a draw, or one will win by 1 point or another point. Until they
not a bad idea.
Yeah. Until someone is able to show their dominance, to show their strength. And for example, if Sims were able to back Cora up, then he would be on top. Or if Cora could back Sims up, I mean really back him up. But they're not. They just land on each other. And Teddy, you're absolutely right. It's easier to fight inside than it is to fight outside.
Well, thank you, Ruben. A lot of people don't realize that, you know, because they say inside, they say, gee, you know, wow, that's really, that guy, I give a lot of credit, that's real hard, you got to get inside. But you can rest inside, you can hide from things inside.
That's right.
And on the outside, you can't hide from anything.
You can't hide.
On top of yourself all the time.
Absolutely, Teddy, you're right. And Teddy, while I'm at it, just let me say this. I've always admired you for your no-nonsense approach to life. Not just to boxing, but to life. And I congratulate you on that, brother.
Well, thank you. Coming from you, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And right now, I think we always talk, Ruben, about fighting your fight. Fighting the place you want to be. What's best for you. Right now, Cora's fighting where he wants to be. He's in close, and he's fighting his fight. Sims needs to turn this around and start fighting his fight, and I think that needs to be on the outside.
That's absolutely correct. Now, he does that. Sims does that for the first 4 or 5 rounds, but then he gets lazy. And he goes inside, and he begins to lose the momentum of the fight.
You're right, Ruben. You know that word we're talking about, discipline.
There you go.
Final seconds.
Discipline.
9 rounds in the books.
Hey, you okay?
Yeah. 10th round, they'll fight 12. In the 9th round, Felix Cora landing 35 punches, Sims 25. I think I'm being told that the punches thrown in this fight, this could be a cruiserweight record in the making, the amount of punches being thrown. Michael Sims, tremendous amateur pedigree, world and U.S. champion, 1999, won those titles at 178 pounds, but he is a true cruiserweight at 6'2", coming back down now from heavyweight. Took only one loss, and that was at heavyweight. Felix Cora Jr., still unbeaten, 13-0-2, and only 24 years old. A lot more upside, Teddy, for Cora.
You know what, Brian? In my small opinion, it's not the amount of punches that are being thrown that's really the most relevant in this fight. It's where they're being thrown from. To me, that is the most important thing. And where they're being thrown from is favoring Cora. In close.
Whenever Sims gets a little more space, Teddy, you're absolutely right. Like right here, he's getting the better of it. And his punches can go out a little further. There's more snap on them on the end.
Good full sense.
Look at that right there. He's got to back up a little bit. I wonder why Sims allows himself to go back onto the ropes.
Inside fits the guy with shorter punches, shorter arms, I should say, and that guy happens to be Cora. It's easy to throw short punches. You got the longer arms, a little bit more difficult. And right now, it's serving Cora real well. And it's that simple. Cora's where he wants to be, where he needs to be. Sims is where Cora wants him. That's the difference in the fight.
If Sims took a little off those punches. Do you advise that sometimes, Teddy? Take a little off your punches just to land. Sims doing a little more off
That's
punches.
what the good pitchers do to strike a guy out. They take a little off just to get the guy off strike. Take a little off your punch just to change the rhythm of the fight. And then all of a sudden, speed it up again and nail the guy.
I thought that was instructive last week, Teddy. I rescored Hagler Leonard, and you can see Sugar Ray Leonard, brilliant fighter, of course, trying to put everything into his favor so he could slip by marvelous. And he took a lot off his punches, but when you're landing those scoring blows, it adds up. It has to.
You know, we've been talking about fighting on the inside. You know, it's kind of like swimming in the ocean. You know when you're in the ocean, and all of a sudden you let the tide take you. Or you decide to swim against the tide. Well, to go outside right now where Sims needs to be, it's like swimming in the ocean. He needs to start swimming against the tide. Right now, he's allowing the tide to take him. And the tide is taking him to a fight that's good for Cora. A fight where he's floating on the inside. And you know what? If he keeps floating, he's going to go down the river.
10 rounds through in our main event. It could be very close.
A nationwide taste test reveals the majority of Bud Light drinkers said Miller Lite has more taste.
One day, Brian Kenny's here and jackets out the window.
It's all right. It's good to be here with you, Teddy. This is exciting. This is great stuff here. This is high-level stuff.
This is a nice, solid fight. This is what you talk about in the day of Ruben Hurricane Carter and those good, solid fighters. You had a lot more of them than you do today, to be quite honest with you. The best fought the best. You always had solid fights. We got a nice, solid one.
And again, the Cruiserweight division is pretty wide open. And just last year, the top three all went to heavyweight. James Lights Out Tony, Vasily Girov, Juan Carlos Gomez, now at the top of the division. Sims is backed up. Wayne Braithwaite, Jean-Marc Mormac. These guys are throwing loads of punches. We are told this is a record already in the Cruiserweight division. Over 1,000 punches thrown by Felix Cora Jr. Sets a record for Cruiserweights in bouts charted by CompuBox. That's over the last 16 years.
You know, Sims needs to do something dramatic, I think. And again, it's in my small opinion, to turn this fight around before it's any later. And it's getting pretty late right now with 2 rounds to go.
I think I heard Ray Woods in the corner tell Michael Sims, you're going to need a knockout to win this fight. And I'm relying on my own ears a few feet away, but I believe that's what I heard. So even in Sims' corner, they realize that this fight has gotten away from him. Despite the success, and it's strange, Teddy, because in those rounds 2, 3, and 4, it looked like, all right, here's the separation that you and Hurricane have talked about. Separation from Michael Sims. But it went back to Felix Cora.
Well, there's 2 things right now, I think, for Sims to be able to pull this fight out of the fire. One, he needs to land a big shot. But to land that big shot, I think he needs what you just talked about, the word you just used, Brian. Separation, like that. He needs a little room. But again, he falls in. He allows himself to drift with the tide. He's got to start swimming upstream. Start really getting out of that toe that's just taking him to the inside. And it takes discipline. It takes real confidence, real professionalism to stay on the outside and ply your trade. Plenty of heart on both sides. But so far, a little bit more direction in Cora's fight. He's got it where he wants it.
Final 30 seconds of the 11th round. Again, the USBA Cruiserweight belt on the line. Both starting to crack the Cruiserweight world rankings. And the winner here can move upward and onward. Hey, no guarantee of anything, Teddy, in this sport, but sparkling on national TV, that helps bring.
Oh, it sure does. These guys are really performing. They're going. They know how to fight, and they're willing to fight. But again, Cora's got the fight where he wants it. In close. Both guys fighting well and close. It's the kind of fight where Sims doesn't want that right now. He doesn't want something that's even.
And final round, and Teddy, you have Felix Cora Jr. gaining separation on the cards.
That last round was a tough round. Could have been a 10-10 round.
I might go Sims, but it's hard to say, Teddy. Very hard.
But it was fought, you know one thing, it was fought where Cora wanted it. And that's not good at this point to Sims.
Michael Sims, I talked about a sense of urgency with his career. He needs to have a sense of urgency right now in this round. Oh, good crisp. Straight left hand by Felix Cora. These are just power punches being thrown. Nearly 900 power punches thrown by Cora, nearly 300 landed. Nearly 200 landed by Michael Sims.
You know, we use that word discipline sometimes too freely. But it's so important. Just a moment ago, you saw Sims had the separation that we think he needs. And he's been successful when he's had it. But then he falls in. He doesn't keep those feet set. He gets the separation, and then he falls in with his punches.
Now, Teddy, let me throw in a word here for Pete Hardgorski, the referee. I don't even notice him at all. And these guys are fighting in each other's grill, and yet he's just there maintaining order. Now, these guys are fighting professionally, but a lot of times you'll see a referee take over and say, all right, break, all right, break, all right, break. These guys have fought out. There's Hardgorski right now, just maintaining a little bit of order, but he's been very good, I think, in this fight. These guys have had to fight out of all clinches whenever they've gotten tangled up.
I second you completely on that. This referee has done a terrific job. He is not deterred from a terrific fight. And there's a little separation there, and Sims all of a sudden gets off that left hook. Sims needs a big shot right here to pull this fight out. Maybe a little help.
I don't know if Sims has that knockout power, Teddy.
I think he does.
You think so? I don't know. He's fought now 4 times against Cora. He's never done real damage to him.
I think he's got the power. And I think Cora, as experienced as he is, as tough as he is, he's got a good chin. And he knows how to do what fighters that don't get hurt do. Make just a little bit of a move to take something off that punch. And that's what he's doing. That's why it's called the sweet science. A lot of people might think he's just in there swinging away. No, he's not. He's making little moves after he punches to take a little something away from what's coming back at him from Sims.
We've approached the final 30 seconds of this outstanding cruiserweight bout. These men throwing nearly 2,000 punches in this fight. They're just about done in more ways than one.
Well, right now the punches are being moved by Sims. For what he needs, they're not being moved the right way. They're arm punches. And if you're in the corner right now, you gotta like to see that they're arm punches because they can't hurt you guys.
The crowd is on its feet. The people here at the ballroom on their feet in appreciation, cheering these two top professionals. This has been an outstanding fight. For the 4th time, Felix Cora and Michael Sims have gone at it. And they've done themselves proud.
Yes, they have. And Michael Sims, Sid Tenor, up in the heavens above, your former manager, you did him proud. You fought with all the heart. Sid would have wanted you to.
We're coming back with our decision here in Chicago. Remember, July, a big month of boxing here on ESPN2 on Tuesday and Friday Night Fights. Felix Cora, wow, over 2,000 punches thrown, over 1,200 by Felix Cora Jr., outlanding Michael Sims, not by a large margin, and that is a new cruiserweight record. Arthur Williams set that record in 1999 against Doran Zenner. Teddy, your scorecard.
There it is, 117, 113. I think this is the kind of fight that you could get some even rounds. Well, I did anyway.
Outstanding fight between these two top cruiserweights, and I believe we are just about ready. Let's go to get our official decision right now with M. Mark Bureau.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a majority decision. Judge Ted Ginza scores the bout 114, a draw. Judges Jerry Jakutko and Bill Lurch both see it 116, 112 to the winner by majority decision and USBA Cruiserweight Champion, Felix Cora!
Teddy, I think they were exactly right. Now, a draw, look, there are a lot of close rounds, but 116, 112 sounds just about right. And for the first time in 4 bouts, Felix Cora finally has a win over his rival, Michael Sims. Outstanding main event. Let's go right back now. Stan Barrett in our studios with Ruben Hurricane Carter.
Okay, Brian and Teddy, thank you. You agree with that decision, Hurricane?
I agree with that decision wholeheartedly.